Yes, yes. YouTube, what it do? It's your boy Ascension Capitals, man. Tapping back in with another video. Welcome, guys. And I got a presentation for you guys today. Presentation by your boy AC Shion. So, anyway, without further ado, let's get into if I had to start trading over again, what would I do? How would I go about it to make the process as smooth sailing as possible? Perhaps shorten the learning curve and, allowing yourselves to jump over hurdles a lot easier than what I would the first time. So I have step by step how I do it smarter this time. So yeah, let's get right into it. Let's get right with it. Alright guys, today I have a presentation for you guys on if I had to start trading again, how would I go about it? How would I go about perhaps shortening the learning curve and making the process more smooth sailing and, allowing yourself to jump over hurdles that, you might not have would have tripped on the first time if I would have started over. So I have kind of a step-by-step guide. Well, not kind of a step-by-step guide. I have a step-by-step guide on how I do it smarter this time. So yeah, guys, I thought I'd come up with this video because I thought about how would have started over. Like, what is the more safer approach to taking rather than going through all these loops and hurdles and setbacks and all these things that perhaps confuse me. Anyway, let's get into it. So the first thing that I would do is pick the right market, and the right market is crypto, futures, forex, stock options. You have to pick what best fits for you. So I wouldn't chase the hype. On the internet right now, you see a lot of stuff about trading, and perhaps it looks appetizing, but a lot of that stuff is like phony baloney, to be honest with you. And I got into trading through IML, and that was phony baloney, but I'm still grateful for that because it was the introduction. But anyways, I digress. But I'd find what fits my schedule and my risk profile. And by that, I mean, what can I tolerate? What type of tolerance do I have to perhaps this specific market? And like I said before, I pick one of these markets. It'll be the Forex market, which has 24/5 trades Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. And this is something you can trade relatively low leverage, meaning you can trade an account with like $10, $100, and it has that ability for leverage. So this is something that you can trade throughout the whole week, all times of the day. So the next thing would be futures, and futures happens to be the market that I am in. And this market not potentially, but mostly has early hours with volatility, and again with the leverage, you can use relatively low amounts of your own capital to leverage your capital to be able to scale and hold bigger size positions, because the whole leverage, whether that be 1 to 30 or 1 to 50, but I think the US only goes up to 1 to 50 leverage, so that's just kind of standard guideline if I'm not mistaken. But futures also has lots of clean structure throughout the time frames of 8:30 to 11:30 a.m. So I really like the futures market. But again, moving on to the next thing would be stocks and options. And I don't really know too much about stocks and options, but I know a lot of people make lots of money through call stock options, but this is usually through calls and puts through something be like Robinhood. But like I said, I don't really know much about that, but I know for sure, if Aristotle Investments, that's the guy you want to go to for stock options and things of that nature. But anyway, the next market would be crypto market, and then this is another market that trades 7 days out of the week, unlike forex, futures, or in stock options, which is 24/5, meaning Monday through Friday you can trade all of these markets throughout the volatility that they offer. But crypto is 7 days a week, and it's kind of never off, and it's one of those things that's very volatile. So I would kind of stay away from crypto in the beginning, but obviously you can branch out to it if you're willing to do that. But out of all these markets, I would find 1 to 2 instruments to kind of stick with, because kind of spreading your focus thin and kind of looking at all of these markets as you're first starting off, it's too much analyzation. Like, you want to get straight to the point when you're learning something, or that's at least how I operate. But anyway, like I was saying, you want to start with 1 to 2 markets and master those markets, and that's the only thing that you look at every single day. So the second thing would be finding real education, and this is a very, very slippery slope, I want to say, because there's a lot of gurus on the internet, I want to say, and a lot of them can lead you down their own path and just kind of make you blow your hard-earned money for you trying to you're using this money to essentially help you change your life, and they're just kind of draining you of that. So I kind of stay away from people who are doing the flashy stuff. That's pretty much what I stay away from, and I would lean and gravitate more towards people who are more genuine in their kind of showing the right way to go about trading. And I look for risk management, people showing back testing, and they talk about trading psychology, because these are the main kind of real backbones of what trading is, and they know. So those are the type of people who are preaching those things. Those are the kind of people I'll gravitate towards. Start asking them questions, start picking their brain, like, what is it that you know? Because you're preaching the real stuff and not just showing me Rolexes and Lambos and flashing money stacks and all that thing. So what I definitely stay away from is signal groups. Pretty much people who will send you a signal to your phone, you enter the trade on your phone, whatever size of account you have, and you're pretty much essentially taking whatever trade that they take, and they say they can make you money. And again, they'll probably be showing you a flashy lifestyle, so you kind of fall right into the funnel. And yeah, I stay away from that, because it's going to be essentially blowing money, because a lot of the times it doesn't work, and it's just not how you would go about learning something, because you're not working for it. You don't know what they're trading. Essentially, you're just kind of gambling your money at that point. And like I said, people who don't show journaling, like people who show the process of, hey, this is how I journal my trades, or I journal my trades, or this is the back testing software that I use to journal my trades, and I'm going to put this in my journal and reflect on my losses and wins. And yeah, you got to be kind of transparent when you're kind of going, or when you're trying to learn trading, or the teachers who are trying to preach trading, because it's like they can kind of lead you down the wrong path, and that'll add more days and weeks of confusion to your whole process. So the third thing that I would do is I would understand the timeline, and I would understand that this is not a get rich quick scheme. And when I first was introduced to trading, like I said, through IML, that was like, that's kind of what they were preaching, bro. You're recruiting all these people, so you're making money through residuals, and we got all of these. You got to pay more money for these products, and they're supposed to be signal services, and they're essentially having all these calls to tell you how to recruit more people, and not essentially how to trade. But even the calls, when they do branch out to the trading, they're teaching you strategies that oftentimes don't quite work. So like I said, this is something that can just add more confusion to your timeline of knowing what actual trading is and what's the phony baloney stuff. So anyway, the whole journey, how I would kind of predict it is this takes like a year to 2 years to really get your feet like wet and really understanding like the concepts of how the market move. What is the market? What is a candlestick? How does the news affect the market? Like there's quite a bit of stuff to learn, and you have to learn how price action moves throughout cycles of the year, throughout news events, throughout recessions and things of that nature. You have to really begin to collect that data. So I say it typically takes between 12 to 18 months to start to really build the skill set to kind of understand the fundamentals of how the market moves. And the next phase that I will follow would be to learn and simulate. And I spent more time than usual in this phase because, like I said, when I first started, it was through IML, but I put trading down for a while and started again like 2022. And throughout this whole phase, I was demo shoddy. Like I was not about to risk no real money because I just knew, like, bro, I understood what trading can do, and I understood like, oh wow, this is a real ultimate like hack to the system, and you can make loads amount of money through this, but it's something very different than anything that I've ever seen. But it's a real great thing. But anyway, the next thing would be small live trading. And small live trading, you can do this for about 3 to 6 months. This is typically starting with like $100 account, $50 account, and you're in this phase risking about maybe $5 to $10 of that account to really get the feel for your emotions when you're behind the chart. Like, this is my hard-earned capital at work here. I can't just like blow all my money, but you kind of gotta get away from that, and that's why you're risking so small, because you want to essentially have your emotions behind your positions to understand, like, okay, this is how this really works, and I got to be okay with the risk that I'm taking, or not be okay with the risk that I'm taking. But anyway, I digress. So build and scale will be the next phase, and this is the phase when you're really starting to understand what you're doing. Now you're potentially wanting to have a bigger size account, and you kind of understand what you're doing. You understand how your strategy works. You understand the educational material that you're consuming, and this is pretty much when you're just pretty much getting in the habit of journaling and getting in the habit of waking up, reading the markets, and you're going to have this process and you understand what the market is doing. So the next thing will be keep it private until you're ready to show it, blow it, not show it, blow it, but show it to the world on what you're actually doing, because not everybody understands what this skill set is, or how powerful this skill set is, or what it can really do for your life, bro. Like, trading can really change your life in ways you never really imagined or really understood, because all we know is matrix living, stuck under the thumb of Big Brother. But anyway, I digress. But I keep this to myself, and this is just something to save your sanity and not to have anybody all in your business until you're ready to just say, you know what, fuck it, I don't give a fuck, this is what I'm gonna do. But in most instances, you're starting off, you're learning this, people are not really they're gonna think it's a scam. That's funny to me, because I actually have friends who said, well, why are you doing this? What is this stuff? But you can't let that get to you, because you know what it is. You know what the skill set can do for you, and it's like, bro, you just don't understand how powerful this is, and the opportunity that I have if I really lock in and learn the skill set. But I'd focus on building my own confidence in the skill set before I even tell it to the world. Like, I kind of want to know what I'm doing, in a sense, because people just like to run their mouths and they don't understand. So it's just best to keep it to yourself. People add pressure on you. Maybe they might expect expectations from you, like, you making money yet? That's gonna be annoying hearing that every day. It's like, just let me do my thing. So that's why I say it's best in the beginning just to just keep it to yourself until you really have confidence behind yourself. So yeah, the next thing would be focus on one strategy, one setup, and one, way of reading the markets or taking setups. And this is when you get into the phase of really back testing and collecting data and going through years of data to understand if the stuff that you're learning really works or if you're just kind of wasting your time. So I journal every setup that I take through whatever session or however I was trading. If I was swing trading, so I would still back test these trades through TradingView, but you can only go so far back with TradingView. So a lot of how I did it was back testing through TradingView for as far back as I can go. I did have FX replay for a little bit, and collecting data and back testing my strategy through that. But at the time, I couldn't afford FX replay. I was like, damn, this shit's monthly. They want this money from me. I just can't do it. And they wanted the $30 a month from me. I couldn't do it at the time, so fuck it. I more so started to forward test a lot of the strategy and also back test what I could throughout the times that I can. But like I said, I was trading demo for like a year plus. So just collect the data how you can, but it's best to collect this data and know how your strategy works throughout any given season or things of that nature. So the simpler the setup is, the more it'll be repeatable. So find something that kind of sticks and you repeat it around the same time every single day, and you collect this data on if your strategy actually works or if there's something you need to tweak, or perhaps you need to do some more studying. All right, so the next thing would be train your psychology. And this is the one we gotta lock in on, because I feel like this is really my biggest hurdle. And one thing I can say is you have to be really disciplined when trading, bro. You can't, I feel like your mind is your biggest asset here. In sports it would be your arms, your legs, but for trading is your mental capacity to be disciplined and to be able to identify and really to be able to have self-control. And something you could do is journal your emotions, like how you're feeling on the charts at the time. So it's like, so you can constantly be aware of like how you're feeling, or perhaps you can do that after the session. But something I would get in the habit of like locking and drilling in my brain is be like being okay to being able to walk away after a loss, being able to stay neutral after a win, and being able to follow your rules every day no matter like the circumstance. Being able to do this over and over and to have that trained repetition, and to be able to build the muscle for you to be able to take the setups every day and not be so emotional. Don't have your heart thumping as you're taking these setups. It's like you gotta really train your mind and really have self-control. And there's been several times that I've just gone on tilt or just trying to do the most and kind of get lost in the sauce, if you will, and taking too many setups, and you're just like, bro, what? I'm in this hole now and I can't stop trading. It's just like, bro, you're gambling at this point. Just leave it alone. Like, being able to say no, being able to walk away from a good setup if news is near. So it's like, you shouldn't take it, but you're going to take it anyway, just because you don't have that mental ability in your mind to say no, and to be able to train your psychology and stay on top of your emotions. So that's like the main key component to trading. Like if you can figure that out and you can be able to become avatar with your mind, you'll make it very far in here, because you gotta lock in, man, with that brain power. So the next thing would be small risk. And in the very beginning, after you're done with that whole demo phase and you're trading small capital, keep the risk very small, man. Again, this is the stage where you're still building like that repetition, and you don't want to try to, reach for the stars too soon and just end up blowing money over and over and over again. Because like I said, 9 times out of 10 you're starting out in the market with your hard-earned capital, and this is money that you slave for. Like, you put in work for. It's like you may have didn't want to go to work, but you had to go there, make them shekels, and make some shake with the money that you're feeding your family with, the money that you're putting food in your mouth with. So it's like, keep your risk small in the beginning because it's all kind of the same. So I would trade micros, trade very small lot sizes, $5 to $10 risk. Like, that's all you really need in the beginning, because a lot of the times that's something that can help you out in the real world, like gas money, some groceries, some eggs, you know what I'm saying, some diapers for little Ray J and them. It's like, you gotta get to a point where you can make it make sense, so you can understand, like, okay, now I understand risk, and it's the same if I'm on a small account or on a big account. So it's like, it's all a matter of perspective with with size, and it'll be the same. Like, you'll be able to trade a bigger account because you're not thinking about it in the terms of money. You're thinking about it in terms of percentages, and a lot of people think about it in percentages. A lot of people think about it in money, but you'll be able to have a bigger grasp. So I focus on this consistency and just keep getting those reps in, not focus on such big wins, but getting those base hits, and that'll eventually carry you to a point where you're risking more and you haven't really done anything different. That's the last slide, guys. I could have sworn there was one more. But anyways, guys, this is things that I would keep in mind if I were to start the whole process over and, approach trading from a fresh lens. So yeah, guys, you can tell it's kind of all over the place, but I hope you guys got some value out of this and understand how you could approach trading and to make the process a lot more, smooth sailing for you. So yeah, guys, maybe y'all keep rising, and I'll see you guys in the next one. So peace for now.